Hello friends and welcome back to another episode of OzQuest. Before we get started, it's time for an Ozzy Oopsie, the part of the show where I correct myself when I get my Oz facts twisted. In a past episode, I said Dorothy and the Land of Oz was supposed to be a pilot for a series. Well, it turns out that was an error on my part. The project I was actually thinking of was Rankin Bass's Return to Oz from 1964, which was tied to Crawley Films' earlier cartoon series, Tales of the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy and the Land of Oz, that was its own thing, not a pilot, so thanks to the listeners who spotted that one. And now a personal note. I owe you all an apology for being away from the pod so long. Life kind of knocked me off the yellow brick road. I broke my leg not too long ago and that kept me from getting into the recording studio. Add in the financial struggle of trying to make ends meet during recovery, and it's been a rocky road. But I'm still here, still passionate about Oz, and I'm working hard to bring this podcast back to a regular rhythm. So with that out of the way, let's dive into the magic Ozzy and DiC and see what's on the agenda for today. Oh, this will be interesting. Okay, let's see. So we're diving into, according to the DiC, the 1990 animated Wizard of Oz series produced by DiC Entertainment. In 1990, to capitalize on the enduring magic of the 1939 film, DiC Animation City, in partnership with Turner Entertainment Company, brought us a brand new animated series simply titled The Wizard of Oz. The show premiered on ABC and ran for 13 episodes, giving us a new glimpse into the Land of Oz. It's colorful, it's quirky, it's filled with animation mistakes, and it's a fascinating chapter in Oz history. DiC Entertainment, also known as Do It Cheap by animators who worked with them, was a powerhouse in the 80s and 90s. They produced everything from Inspector Gadget to Heathcliff, The Real Ghostbusters, Captain Planet, Care Bears, and later Sonic the Hedgehog. Their style was distinct: bright colors, bold outlines, simplified animation, and sometimes pretty sloppy mistakes. In 1990, DiC launched their take on The Wizard of Oz. It was inspired by the MGM movie, but it was not a direct continuation or faithful copy. It aired in syndication, ran for just 13 episodes, and then disappeared into the vaults of obscure Saturday morning history. This wasn't just a rehash of the movie. While it incorporated beloved elements like the ruby slippers and the Scarecrow's diploma, it also pulled from L. Frank Baum's original books. However, it made some key departures. For instance, Dorothy's design was modeled more on Disney's Princess Ariel than on Judy Garland. And unlike the film where Oz might have all been a dream, this series made it a very real place that Dorothy could return to. A new adventure. The show's plot is a fantastic setup for a new quest. Dorothy, with the ruby slippers now mysteriously reappearing in her closet, clicks her heels and recites the iconic line, "There's no place like Oz." When she arrives, she finds her friends the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion waiting for her. But all is not well. The Wicked Witch of the West has been resurrected by her loyal winged monkeys, led by one named Truckle. Truckle is voiced by Frank Welker, who is a very famous voice actor. I got his autograph on my Scooby-Doo action figure set. And at time of recording, he voices Scooby and Freddy. The witch has taken over the Emerald City, stolen her friend's gifts from the wizard, and trapped the wizard himself in his hot air balloon with a spell that creates a never-ending wind. I believe the wind is also voiced by Frank Welker. I'm like 95% sure. So once again, our heroes Dorothy, Toto, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion must set out on mission to save the wizard and defeat the witch once and for all. The Ruby Slipper Conundrum. Interestingly, the series explored a new wrinkle with the famous ruby slippers. Even though Dorothy uses them to get back to Oz, she isn't entirely sure how they work. Glinda often advises her to use them only as a last resort, and in many episodes they don't always help in the way you'd expect. The show played with the idea that these powerful shoes were a bit unpredictable, adding to the suspense of each adventure. I like that in this series they are worn not only by Dorothy, but in one episode by Truckle and in another episode by the Lion. It plays with the shoes a lot. Let's talk character designs, starting with Dorothy. This wasn't Judy Garland's Dorothy. Instead, you can see the influence of Disney's The Little Mermaid, which had just made a huge splash in 1989. Dorothy's hair has that same swoopy bang and volume look as Ariel, and her bright eye color in the shade of blue feels straight out of that Disney princess playbook, This wasn't an accident. DiC wanted Dorothy to feel modern and appealing to kids of the 90s, so her look is less Kansas farm girl and more Saturday morning heroine. Her wardrobe also had small tweaks. It nodded to the gingham but with more polished cartoonish flair. Again, not a copy of Judy Garland, more of a reimagining filtered through pop culture trends. Now the wizard. Instead of the clean-shaven, slightly bumbling wizard we know from MGM, DiC's wizard has white hair and a mustache. This actually makes him closer to Professor Marvel, the fortune teller character Frank Morgan played in the 1939 movie. He was, I believe, one of 4 characters that he played, and the first one that you see in the Kansas segment of the movie. It's almost like they blended the 2 characters into one. The mustache and white hair gave him a more grandfatherly, wise appearance, rather than the slick con man feel. He looks like the professor from that McDonaldland era of McDonald's ads, so maybe that played a part in it as well. Maybe that was intentional. After all, for a Saturday morning cartoon, you don't really want the wizard to seem too untrustworthy. You want kids to like him. In fact, there's very little mention of the wizard being a humbug and a fake. The storylines seem to make him the elusive possible answer to whatever the problem is that they're dealing with, but he usually does give the message of everything you need is found within you kind of thing, but the characters still kind of chase after him as if he has all the answers, so it's kind of confusing sometimes. Glinda is another fascinating redesign. Billy Burke's Glinda in the 1939 film was whimsical with reddish blonde hair in that iconic pink gown. But in the DiC series, Glinda looks more like Barbie. She's blonde with bright blue eyes and perfect curls. Her hair is also longer and goes down her back a bit, which goes against the design of the MGM version where it's kind of shorter and at her shoulders. This wasn't subtle. In the early 90s, Barbie was at the peak of her popularity by making Glinda resemble a Barbie doll. DiC was clearly aiming to capture the market appeal for young girls watching. It makes her feel less quirky and more like a fairy godmother, safe, sparkly, and toyetic. This series had a great voice cast too. While no one can ever replace the original cast of the MGM film, the voice actors for the DiC series did an amazing job of continuing their legacy. Taking on the lead role of Dorothy Gale was Liz Georges. In addition to her role as Dorothy, she is also known for her work in animated shows such as Told by Ginger, The Wild Thornberrys, and Real Monsters. The scarecrow who longs for a brain was voiced by David Lodge. He is also known for being an English novelist and critic. Hal Rale lent his voice to the Tin Man, also known for voicing characters like Pipes and Snarl in the Transformers, and Raphael in some episodes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Cowardly Lion was brought to life by legendary voice actor Charlie Adler. Adler is known for a huge list of roles including Buster Bunny in Tiny Toon Adventures, as well as roles in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, and The Transformers. And of course we can't forget the villains. The Wicked Witch of the West, who was famously played by Margaret Hamilton in the movie, was voiced by Tress MacNeille in this series. MacNeille is a voice acting powerhouse with roles like Dot Warner in Animaniacs and Babs Bunny in Tiny Toon Adventures. She is also known for voicing many characters on The Simpsons and Futurama. Tress MacNeille is giving her all and a great performance as the Wicked Witch of the West. She did this voice a couple of times in Tiny Toon Adventures as well, in the showcase of Babs Bunny showing everybody what she could do as far as impressions. The voice of the wizard himself was Alan Oppenheimer, an actor with an impressive career including voicing Skeletor and Man-at-Arms in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, as well as the voice of Falkor in The Neverending Story. Finally, we have B.J. Ward as Glinda, the Good Witch. Ward is known for her work in many classic animated shows, including voicing Wonder Woman and Jaina in Super Friends, and Scarlet in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. I love her in the Mook animated Scooby-Doo movies as Velma. She is also known for being a singer with a one-woman musical show called Stand Up Opera. Frank Welker also voiced Toto, and he's usually, especially around this time, voicing a lot of animal characters like Abu and Aladdin, for example. Now let's talk about the green elephant in the Emerald City, the animation mistakes. They are everywhere in this series. Dorothy's shoes sometimes change color mid-shot, Toto's size changes dramatically from one frame to the next, And sometimes characters just pop in and out of frame like they're teleported by accident. Why so many errors? Simple. DiC was working fast and cheap. Their nickname in the industry, Do It Cheap, wasn't just a joke. It reflected their reality. They had aggressive schedules, low budgets, and often outsourced animation overseas where the quality control wasn't as strict. For Oz fans, the mistakes are frustrating but also kind of charming. They've given the series a so bad it's good cult status. The quest continues. Over its 13 episodes, the show presented a new challenge each week. From the witch casting a spell to make the lion fearless, to her creating a false Kansas to trick Dorothy, which was amazing. I remember that episode so well, and I loved it. Except the Kansas that the witch made in this hex was in color, so it was kind of a giveaway that it wasn't the sepia tone that is even shown in the intro. It's a fun and action-packed continuation of the Oz saga, with the heroes constantly learning and growing as they face down the Wicked Witch. The series may have had a short run, but it found a long life in syndication, re-airing on channels like the Disney Channel and Toon Disney. That was the only reason I wanted Toon Disney, when I saw that it was airing the Wizard of Oz cartoon after so many years of it being off the air. I would later get them on DVD as far as the episodes that were released on DVD, and I treasure them. I have 3 of them. I believe Escape from the Emerald City, and then 2 others that each have, I believe, 4 episodes and some bonus episodes on there as well. I like to watch them in between Tom and Jerry's Wizard of Oz and Tom and Jerry's Back to Oz, because they do have like a similar style going on, so it kind of flows well together. Give it a try sometime and tell me what you think. So what's the legacy of DiC's Wizard of Oz? It's not exactly beloved in the mainstream. With only 13 episodes and no major merchandising push, it never had a chance to become iconic. Compared to Disney's Return to Oz or even the stage musical The Wiz, it barely registers in pop culture memory. But among Oz fans, it's a curiosity, an odd time capsule of how studios in the early 90s tried to capitalize on familiar properties. In fact, this did come around the time of the 50th anniversary of the original movie, which was 1989, and Wizard of Oz was everywhere. I was 6 or 7 around that time, and it really was everywhere you looked. I was in 1st grade, and I don't know if my teacher did it every year, but that year she read us the actual book that the movie is based on, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and I was loving all the Oz stuff. Again, going back to Return to Oz, that was my actual entry point into the world, as I'd seen that movie on the Disney Channel around 86, 87 or so. And I actually thought that was the first story as far as the movies go, because Dorothy was so much younger. So by the time the 50th anniversary rolled around, I was like seeing all this Oz stuff everywhere, and I was like, wow, this is great. I love this world. So this series came around that time in 1990, and people were actually hungry for, more Oz content. So seeing them on Saturday mornings was so magical. We all loved it around that time and age range. Some love it for its flaws. Others appreciate that it dared to reinterpret the characters rather than just copying MGM. And some of us just enjoy that it exists at all, because Oz in any form is always worth exploring. So that's the story of the DiC Wizard of Oz series. Fast, flawed, colorful, and strangely charming. Once again, thank you for sticking with me through my break. Healing, struggling to keep things afloat, and still wanting to bring Oz magic to your ears hasn't been easy, but your support means the world. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share it with fellow Oz fans, and leave a review. It really helps. And if you want to support OzQuest even more, check the show notes for links on how you can do that. This is Dennis with OzQuest. Join us next time as we explore another corner of the magical world of Oz. Until then, remember there's no place like home, but there's always a quest waiting.